Yeah, we're speaking first.
calm하게. 좀 물 좀 마시고 입 좀 풀고.
그러니까. Okay. Do we have to kind of tilt the mic towards us? Or?
Yeah, that's just so it can be recorded. You really just need to worry about the judges hearing you.
Okay. Just speak like this. Okay.
Kurt here is going to be the official timekeeper. Okay? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention, please? Good afternoon, and thank you for attending today's event. This event is a supplemental called International Public Forum Debate. And the purpose of this event is really twofold. As you may be aware, there are people outside the United States participating in public forum debate, including countries such as Korea, where we have our representatives today, China, where more than 2,000 students participated in public forum debate this year. Japan is coming online next year. We have students here from Morocco and competing in some of the other events. Dominican Republic. There are many students competing in international public forum debate, and they come to participate in this tournament. And in the preliminary debates, they participate in the regular preliminary debates with the U.S. Students. But we also provide opportunities for them to participate in the separate elimination bracket. And we also invite some American students to participate in that. So there's more opportunities for the American students and the foreign students to debate against one another. At the end of the preliminary debates in this bracket, we create two brackets, one with international teams and one with U.S. teams, which guarantees that we have a final round between an international team and a U.S. team. So today, we have Team Korea. They're actually representing HFS High School from Seoul, South Korea, against Presentation High School from California. And this is a standard public forum debate that we will now conduct. And Team Korea is the pro, and they are speaking first. Yeah, speak into there, but speak up.
Okay. I don't think it's even on.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Just, we won't care about it. Are the judges ready? May I begin? Opponents ready? Opponents ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Supporting the resolution that the benefits of First Amendment protection of anonymous speech outweigh the harms, on the affirmative case we have 2 points. First, how free speech protects whistleblowers, and second, how free speech empowers minorities. Contention 1, how anonymity has motivated and protected whistleblowers, and why this is a necessary function in our democracy. Now, why are whistleblowers beneficial to our society, and why is anonymity essential in ensuring that they can speak up? In 2014, 40% of all fraud identified in the United States was identified through individual whistleblowing, according to the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners report. We never would have known of the government's mass surveillance programs if it wasn't for Snowden, and we wouldn't have nullified Section 215 of the Patriot Act if we wouldn't have known about if it wasn't for Edward Snowden. We wouldn't have known about countless human abuses and international law infringements if it wasn't for WikiLeaks. Now, why is anonymity essential for these people to speak up? Because without anonymity, whistleblowers will become victims of retaliation and condemnation. Snowden was kicked out to Russia as a result of his non-anonymous whistleblowing. And for an example from the private sector in the United States, technician Charles D. Barnador expressed concern openly about radiation exposure at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory and was retaliated by his supervisors by being deliberately transferred to a post in an even more hostile environment with useless work. The U.S. Supreme Court, in the case of 2006 Garcetti v. Ceballos, ruled that government employees do not have protection from retaliation by their employers when they speak pursuant to their official job duties. Now, because of such retaliation, individuals are strongly reluctant to expose government and corporate injustice. while exposing their identity. Now, why is this a problem? Because freedom of the press is one of the most effective ways for democracies to regulate themselves. And because the government does not ensure the safety of both public sector and private sector whistleblowers, the only way for these people to speak up is to turn to journalists, who in turn protect the anonymity of these sources and then report that information to the public. Historically and legally, the press has placed an emphasis on protecting the identity of anonymous sources. If this was taken away, less information would get to the press because of the fear of retaliation, and there would be less check on the government and corporate injustices. Anonymity is the only way to empower individuals who are systematically weaker than the governments and corporations which they intend to expose. Contention 2, the necessity of anonymous speech to minorities. 2 subpoints. Subpoint A, how minorities participate in self-help and counsel online on issues that they cannot with their identities revealed. It is extremely difficult for minorities to discuss personal issues while revealing their names. If a gay Christian wants to talk about his sexual orientation while revealing his name, he would be condemned and possibly be banished from the church community. Minority individuals don't have a lot of people around them to talk to or relate to, and the only way to interact with others who share their plight is through online anonymity. Robert Kling of the American Association for the Advancement of Sciences says that anonymity may also facilitate self-help regarding matters as alcohol, drugs, family abuse, sexual identity, AIDS, and many other diseases. Research by Wichita State University shows that self-help activities have been found to prevent the long-term disorders resulting from common but very traumatic events. Anonymity in these ways enables suffering individuals who are uncomfortable counseling with friends and in the public to engage in self-help communities and to cure themselves of immense difficulties that they face in their personal lives. The expression of identity is also indispensable for sex actualization. Subpoint B, how anonymity empowers minorities to speak against the tyranny of the majority. For example, immigrant workers who work in poor working conditions feel extremely uncomfortable expressing their opinions in non-anonymous dialogues with their employers. I quote sociology professor in Amherst University, Jas Moltzbauer, who stated that without anonymity, immigrants express the need to mask or downplay experiences with discrimination in the workplace and unfair, if not abusive, treatment by their employers. In interviews with past Honduran immigrants, they talked of poor working conditions, but admitted that they cannot report this because of the possibility of being fired. Because anonymity protects and empowers whistleblowers and minority groups in which these individuals are systematically weaker than the governments and corporations, and because this plays a fundamental function in our democracy, we're very proud to propose this motion. Thank you.
Before we begin, Talla and I would like to thank everyone who helped us to get here. First of all, we'd like to thank all of our friends and family, specifically our parents, for all their support and encouragement. Next, we'd like to thank everyone from our league, especially our fellow national qualifying teams, Harker and Mission San Jose, for helping us prep the topic and for being great competitors. We'd like to thank our high school, Presentation High School, and our whole debate team. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here and for all the work each and every one of you did. Additionally, we'd like to thank our club director, Mr. Myers, for constantly believing in us. Lastly, we'd like to thank our coach, Mr. Garrett, for the countless hours he's forced to spend with us, the tireless work he does, and for being our #1 fan. Thank you. We negate resolve. The benefits of First Amendment protection of anonymous speech outweigh the harms. Contention 1, cyberbullying. The right of anonymous free speech is harmful and can be abused through cyberbullying. According to the Max Planck Institute, social psychology research shows that anonymity strongly influences user behavior. These efforts suggest that individuals turn more aggressive and exhibit disinhibition in an anonymous environment. When bullies are given the option of anonymity, they in turn become more aggressive. Kevin Tubert of Loyola College affirms this by concluding that what makes cyberbullying more dangerous than traditional bullying is that the cyberbully can maintain anonymity. Bullies have abused the internet's privilege of anonymity to inflict serious psychological harm on their victims and can rationalize their online acts because the interaction does not seem real. The aggressive behavior resulting from anonymity has real-world implications, as Fabio Sticca of the Springer Science and Business Media explains. Anonymous bullying was perceived as worse than not anonymous bullying in both traditional bullying and cyberbullying. This confirms a number of previous results that discuss anonymous forms of bullying as causing more negative emotions, such as frustration, insecurity, and fear. This extends the present literature that shows that anonymity is perceived as more important than the medium itself. Therefore, because bullies are able to remain anonymous, their interactions over the internet not only do not seem real, but also cause greater psychological harm to their victims. Bullying statistics online finds that around half of teens have been victims of cyberbullying. The impact is twofold. First, depression. Fabio Sticca further explains. Anonymity reduces the perceived control over the situation, especially in the context of cyberbullying. This may lead to increased feelings of helplessness, resulting in a higher risk for depressive symptoms. Second, suicide. Lauren Labano writes for the Psych Congress Network that victims of cyberbullying are 3 times more likely to commit suicide, according to Christy Kendrick, MD. According to bullying statistics online, suicide is the third leading cause of death among young people, resulting in around 4,400 deaths per year, according to the CDC. And for every suicide among young people, there are at least 100 suicide attempts. Contention 2, unlimited campaign finance. Sam Garrett writes in his study for the Congressional Research Service that super PACs emerged after the U.S. Supreme Court permitted unlimited corporate